Ladies and gentlemen, today I'm here to tell you something that could change your life forever. Something that can take you from where you are, struggling, uncertain, searching, to a place of power, purpose, and peace. And it won't take a lifetime, not a year, not even a month. I'm talking about just 7 days. 7 days to transformation. 7 days to a new beginning. 7 days to step into the destiny God has for you. Are you ready? Do you want to change your life? Because if you do, then lean in, listen close, and take this journey with me. Day 1, decide to change. Nothing changes until you decide. Everything starts with a decision. The reason so many people stay stuck is that they never fully commit to change. But today, right now, you must decide that your life will not stay the same, that your past will not define you, that your mistakes will not control you. The Bible says in Romans 12:02, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Change starts in your mind. If you change your thinking, you change your life. Day 2, break the chains of your past. Leave behind what's holding you back. Some of you are carrying the weight of your past. Guilt, regret, pain, mistakes. But let me tell you today, you don't have to carry it anymore. Jesus said in Matthew 11:28, come to me, all who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. It's time to let go of that burden. Your past is not your future. Day 3, build a new habit. Your habits shape your destiny. If you want a new life, you need new habits. Every great man or woman of faith, every person who has changed the world, had routines that shaped their success. Start your day with prayer. Read something that inspires your soul. Speak words of faith over your life. Take action toward your dreams. The Bible says in Galatians 6:9, do not grow weary in doing good, for at the proper time you will reap a harvest if you do not give up. Keep doing what is right, and the harvest will come. Day 4, speak life over your future. Your words have power. What are you speaking over your life? Are you saying I'll never be successful? I'm not good enough? I'll always be broke? Stop it. Proverbs 18:21 says, the power of life and death is in the tongue. What you declare over your life will shape your destiny. So today, speak life over yourself. Say, I am strong. I am blessed. God has a purpose for me. My best days are ahead of me. Speak it until you believe it. Day 5, remove negative influences. Who you surround yourself with matters. Some of you are stuck because you're listening to the wrong voices. You're surrounded by negativity, doubt, and people who pull you down instead of lifting you up. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good character. If you want to change your life, surround yourself with people who push you toward greatness. Who's speaking into your life? Choose voices of faith, encouragement, and wisdom. Day 6, take a step of faith. Faith moves mountains. Faith isn't just believing, it's taking action. You can't wait for everything to be perfect. You have to take a step. Peter walked on water because he stepped out of the boat. What if he never moved? What if he let fear stop him? Hebrews 11:6 says, without faith it is impossible to please God. What is God calling you to do? What dream have you been afraid to pursue? Step out in faith. Day 7, surrender everything to God. Let God lead your life. The greatest transformation happens when you stop trying to control everything and surrender it all to God. Psalm 37:5 says, commit your way to the Lord, trust in Him, and He will do it. When you let go and trust God, miracles happen. Chains are broken, doors open, mountains move. Surrender today and watch God change your life. Conclusion, the challenge. My friends, this is your moment. You don't have to wait for another year, another month, another day. You can start now. Decide to change. Break free from your past. Build new habits. Speak life over your future. Remove negativity. Step out in faith. Surrender it all to God. And in 7 days, your life will never be the same. Will you take this challenge? Will you start today? Will you trust God for your transformation? If you're ready, stand up, lift your hands, and declare, I am changing my life starting now. God bless you. Your new life begins today. Change does not come by accident. It does not happen just because we hope for it. It begins with a decision, a firm, unwavering choice to step out of the old and into the new. If you want a better life, if you want to break free from the struggles, pain, or limitations that have held you back, then the first and most important step is to decide that you will no longer stay where you are. Think about it. Everything in life that has ever changed started with a decision. The student who goes from failing to excelling in school did not suddenly become smart overnight. No. They woke up one morning and said, I refuse to fail. I will study harder. I will not give up. That decision altered their future. The man who struggled with his health, overweight and tired, did not just wake up fit one day. No, he made a decision saying, I will exercise. I will eat better. I will not continue down this path. And with that decision, his life began to change. Maybe you are sitting here today feeling stuck. Maybe you have tried to change before and failed. Maybe you're tired, discouraged, or wondering if your life will ever turn around. I want to tell you something powerful. Your past does not have to define you. Your mistakes do not have to limit you. Your future is not written in stone. But nothing will change until you decide that you are ready to change. A man once stood at the edge of a cliff looking out over the horizon. He had spent years feeling lost, afraid to make a move. He had dreams but never pursued them. He had opportunities but never took them. He told himself, tomorrow I will change. Next week I will start. But every time tomorrow came, he found another excuse. One day as he stood there, he realized something. If he did not make a decision today, he might never change. And that is where many of us are, standing on the edge of a breakthrough, but afraid to take the first step, afraid to decide. We wait for the perfect moment. We wait until we feel ready. But let me tell you something. The perfect moment will never come. You will never feel fully ready. If you keep waiting, you will wait your entire life. Change starts the moment you say enough is enough. It starts when you refuse to accept the same old struggles. It starts when you look in the mirror and say, I will not let fear control me. I will not let my past define me. I will not let doubt stop me. I choose to change. Maybe you've been saying for years, one day I will start that business. But when will that day come? Maybe you've been saying, one day I will forgive that person. But why not today? Maybe you've been saying, one day I will start living for God. But my friend, tomorrow is not promised. The time to decide is now. There was a man named Bartimaeus in the Bible. He was blind, sitting by the roadside begging. Every day was the same, sitting, waiting, hoping someone would help him. But one day he heard that Jesus was passing by. In that moment he had a decision to make. He could have remained silent, letting Jesus pass by, and nothing in his life would have changed. But instead he cried out, Jesus, Son of David, have mercy on me. People around him told him to be quiet. They told him to sit back down. But he had already decided he would not miss this moment. He cried out even louder, and because of his decision, Jesus stopped, healed him, and his life was forever changed. How many of us have let opportunities pass us by because we did not decide? How many of us have stayed in the same situation year after year because we were waiting for someone else to change things for us? Let me tell you something. No one else can make this decision for you. No one else can choose to change your life. It is up to you. A man drowning in the ocean cannot be saved unless he reaches out for help. A person trapped in a burning building cannot escape unless they run toward the exit. In the same way, you cannot change your life until you decide to take action. So I ask you today, what do you need to change? What area of your life have you been struggling with? Is it your mindset, your habits, your relationships, your faith, your finances, your health? Whatever it is, I want you to understand this. You are not powerless. You have the ability to make a decision that will alter the course of your life. Decisions shape destiny. One choice can change everything. The choice to start, the choice to try again, the choice to believe. Today, you are standing at the edge of that cliff, just like that man. You can either stay where you are, stuck, waiting, hoping, or you can decide right now, this very moment, that things will change. And once you make that decision, heaven will back you up. Doors will open, strength will come, and your life will never be the same. So I ask you one final question. What will you decide today? There are people walking around today living life as if they are free, but deep inside they are prisoners. Not prisoners behind bars, not locked in a cell, but prisoners of their own past, held back by mistakes, bound by regret, trapped by pain, weighed down by what they cannot change. We all have a past. Every single one of us has made mistakes. We've all experienced hurt. We've all been through moments that we wish we could undo, words we wish we hadn't spoken, paths we wish we hadn't taken. But let me tell you this, your past is not a life sentence. Your mistakes do not have to define you. Your failures do not have to be the final chapter of your story. Imagine a runner trying to win a race but dragging a heavy chain behind him. He could be the fastest man in the world, but with that weight slowing him down, he will never reach his full potential. That's how so many of us are living. We want to move forward, but we're still dragging the past behind us. We want to step into something new, but we're still holding on to old pain, old guilt, old shame. It's time to let it go. It's time to break the chains. Think about a bird in a cage. The door's open. Freedom is right there, yet the bird stays inside because it has been trapped for so long that it no longer believes it can fly. That's what happens when we allow our past to control us. We stop believing in freedom. We stop believing in new beginnings. We stop believing in second chances. But hear me today, God has already opened the door. The chains are already broken. You don't have to stay stuck in that prison anymore. You can step into a new life. There's a story in the Bible about a woman caught in adultery. The religious leaders brought her before Jesus, ready to stone her to death. Can you imagine the shame? Can you imagine the fear? She knew she had made mistakes. She knew she had failed. But instead of condemning her, Jesus looked at the crowd and said, "Let the one without sin throw the first stone." One by one, they dropped their stones and walked away. Then Jesus turned to the woman and said, "Neither do I condemn you. Go and sin no more." That was the moment she broke free from her past. She could have stayed in that place of shame, believing she was too far gone, but Jesus gave her a new start. And he's offering you the same today. Maybe your past isn't defined by mistakes, but by pain, pain caused by others, wounds from people who hurt you, betrayed you, abandoned you. Maybe you've been carrying that pain for years, letting it shape how you see yourself. But listen, what happened to you does not have to control you. The people who hurt you do not get to define your future. You are not what they did to you. You are not the pain they caused. You are more than your wounds. Forgiveness is not about saying what they did was okay. It's about refusing to let their actions keep you in bondage any longer. Forgiveness is breaking the chain. There was a young man who grew up in a broken home. His father abandoned him. His mother struggled to provide. He spent years feeling angry, bitter, blaming his past for why he couldn't succeed. One day, an older man sat him down and said, "Son, you have two choices. You can keep using your past as an excuse to stay where you are, or you can decide that your past will not define your future." That young man made a decision that day. He chose to break free from his past. He chose to stop blaming his circumstances. He chose to let go of the pain and step into the life waiting for him. Years later, he became a successful businessman, helping others overcome their struggle, all because he chose to stop letting his past hold him back. Some of you have been waiting for closure before you move forward. You think, if only they would apologize, if only I could go back and fix it, if only I had a second chance. But let me tell you, you don't need closure to move on. You don't need an apology to heal. You don't need to go back to rewrite your past in order to step into your future. You just need to decide that today is the day you break free. The enemy wants you to keep looking backward because he knows that as long as you're focused on your past, you will never step into your future. But God is calling you forward. He has a plan for you, a destiny for you, a purpose for you. Forget the former things. Do not dwell on the past. See, I am doing a new thing. Did you hear that? A new thing. Not a recycled, repackaged version of your past, a brand new thing. The only way to step into that new thing is to let go of the old. You cannot move forward while holding on to the past. You cannot receive what God has for you while your hands are full of yesterday's pain. Right now, you have a choice. You can keep carrying the weight of your past, or you can lay it down. You can keep letting it define you, or you can step into the freedom that has been waiting for you all along. You have been carrying this for too long. It's time to let it go. Right where you are, say this: I will not be a prisoner to my past. I will not let my mistakes define me. I will not let my pain hold me back. Today, I break the chains. Today, I step into freedom. Today, I move forward. And when you do, you will feel the weight lift. You will feel the burden release. You will feel the power of a new beginning rushing in. Your past is over. Your future is waiting. It's time to break the chains and walk into everything that God has for you. Life is not made up of the big dramatic moments alone. It is built day by day in the small, consistent actions we take. These actions, repeated over time, form habits, and those habits, whether good or bad, will determine where we end up in life. Your habits shape your destiny. Look around at the most successful people in any field, whether it's business, sports, faith, or relationships. None of them got where they are overnight. It wasn't luck. It wasn't a one-time decision. It was their daily habits, the things they did consistently, that created the life they have now. Now think about your own life. Are your habits taking you where you want to go? Are they leading you towards success, growth, and purpose? Or are they keeping you stuck, trapped in cycles of frustration and failure? If you want to change your future, start by changing your habits. Let's take a simple example. Imagine a man who wakes up every morning and immediately checks his phone. He scrolls through social media, watches random videos, and before he knows it, an hour has passed. He rushes through his morning routine, barely has time to eat breakfast, and heads out the door feeling stressed and unprepared for the day. This becomes his habit. a routine that repeats itself every single day. Now, imagine another man who wakes up and the first thing he does is pray or meditate. He takes a few moments to set his intentions for the day. He spends time reading something uplifting or educational. He exercises for 15 minutes, eats a healthy breakfast, and then starts his day feeling energized and focused. This too is a habit, a small choice repeated daily that shapes his entire future. Which one of these men do you think will be more successful 5 years from now? The answer is clear. Success is not the result of one big moment. It is the result of small habits repeated over time. The good news, you have the power to change your habits. You are not stuck. No matter how many years you have lived with bad habits, no matter how many times you've tried and failed, today can be the day you decide to start building new habits. Habits that will lead you to the life you've always dreamed of. Think about this. A plane that takes off from Los Angeles heading toward New York only has to shift its direction by a few degrees to end up in a completely different destination. The same is true for your life. A small change in your habits today can lead to a completely different future. Maybe you want to be healthier. That doesn't mean you have to change everything overnight. It starts with one small habit. Drinking more water, choosing a healthier meal, taking a short walk each day. Over time, these small habits will transform your body, your energy, and your health. Maybe you want to grow spiritually. That doesn't mean you have to read the entire Bible in one day or pray for hours. It starts with one small habit. Reading a single verse each morning, praying for 5 minutes. Surrounding yourself with people who encourage your faith. Over time, this habit will deepen your relationship with God and strengthen your spirit. Maybe you want to be more successful in your career. That doesn't mean you have to make millions overnight. It starts with one small habit. Reading for 10 minutes a day, waking up earlier, learning a new skill, setting daily goals. Over time, these habits will open doors you never imagined. The problem is, most people don't stick with new habits long enough to see results. They start strong, but when they don't see immediate change, they give up. This is why so many people stay in the same place year after year. They don't realize that real change comes from consistency, not intent. Think about a bamboo tree. When you plant a bamboo seed, nothing seems to happen for the first few years. You water it, you take care of it, but you don't see any visible growth. Then suddenly in the 5th year, it shoots up over 90 feet in just a few weeks. But in reality, it wasn't growing all at once. The roots were developing underground the entire time. That's how habits work. At first, you may not see any change, but every small action you take is strengthening your foundation. And one day, the results will explode into your life in ways you never expected. So I ask you today, what habits do you need to build? What small changes can you make today that will shape your destiny tomorrow? You don't have to be perfect. You don't have to change everything at once. Just start with one habit, one simple action that you commit to doing every single day. And watch how, over time, that habit will transform your life. Your habits will either break you or make you. Choose wisely. Start today. Your destiny is waiting. Words are not just sounds that disappear into the air. They are seeds planted in the soil of your future, and sooner or later, they will grow into the reality you experience. Every word you speak is shaping your life, either bringing blessings or bringing burdens, either building you up or tearing you down. Your words have power. Think about a farmer. When he plants a seed, he doesn't expect to see the harvest the next day, but he knows that if he continues to water and nurture that seed, eventually it will grow into a mighty tree. That is exactly what happens with the words you speak over your life. You are planting something with every word that comes out of your mouth. The question is, are you planting seeds of life or seeds of destruction? Many people speak negatively about themselves without even realizing it. They say things like, I'll never be successful. I always mess things up. I'm not smart enough. Nothing ever works out for me. And then when life doesn't go their way, they wonder why. But the truth is, they have been speaking defeat over their own future. They have been cursing themselves with their own words. Now imagine a person who speaks life instead. They say, I am blessed, good things are coming my way, I am capable, I am strong, I am victorious. God has a plan for my life, and it is a good plan. Do you think their life will look different? Absolutely, because words shape reality. There's a story in the Bible about the Israelites when they were about to enter the promised land. Moses sent 12 spies to check out the land God had promised them. 10 of them came back speaking words of fear. The land is good, but the people are too strong. We are like grasshoppers in their eyes. We will never be able to conquer it. Because of their words, an entire generation missed out on the blessing that was meant for them. But 2 of the spies, Joshua and Caleb, spoke differently. They said, yes, the land has giants, but God is with us. We are well able to take this land. If God is for us, who can be against us? They spoke life. And because of that, they were the only ones from that generation who actually stepped into the promised land. Their words shaped their destiny. Now let me ask you, what are you speaking over your own future? Are you declaring words of faith, victory, and hope, or are you constantly speaking words of doubt, fear, and failure? Think about a young athlete who dreams of becoming a champion. If he keeps saying, I'm not good enough, I'll never win, he will never push himself to improve. But if he speaks life and says, I am getting better every day, I will achieve my goals, he will find the motivation to train harder, to fight through setbacks, and to keep moving forward. The same is true for your life. If you constantly say, I can't do this, life is too hard, I'll never get ahead, you are building a future of struggle and limitation. But if you choose to say, I am strong, I am able, I am stepping into greater things, you are creating a future filled with possibility and success. Imagine 2 people standing at the bottom of a mountain. One looks up and says, this is too hard, I'll never make it to the top. The other looks up and says, this is challenging, but I will take one step at a time until I reach the top. Which one do you think will succeed? The one who speaks life. Your words are not just descriptions of your situation, they are the architects of your future. Some of you have been speaking defeat for too long. You've said things like, I'll always be broke, I'll never find love, I'm too old to change. But today, that stops. Today you start speaking life. Instead of I'll never be successful, say, opportunities are coming my way. Instead of I'm not good enough, say, I am talented, valuable, and worthy of success. Instead of nothing ever changes, say, every day I am growing, learning, and moving forward. There was a man who had been sick for many years. Everyone around him said he would never recover. But instead of agreeing with them, he woke up every morning and said, I am getting stronger. Healing is coming to me. My best days are ahead. Day by day, his body started to recover, and eventually he was completely healed. The doctors couldn't explain it, but he knew his words had created the breakthrough. Your future is not just something that happens to you. It is something you create with the words you speak. The Bible says in Proverbs 18:21, death and life are in the power of the tongue. That means every word you speak is either bringing life or bringing death. There is no in between. If you want a better future, start speaking it into existence. Right now, wherever you are, I want you to say this out loud. I am blessed. Good things are coming my way. I have a bright future. God is working in my life. I am stepping into greater things. Speak these words every day. Say them in the morning when you wake up. Say them before you go to bed. Say them when you feel discouraged. Say them when you feel like giving up. And watch what happens. Your words are powerful. Speak life over your future, and your future will transform before your eyes. The people you surround yourself with are shaping your future, whether you realize it or not. Their words, their attitudes, their mindsets, and their habits are rubbing off on you every single day. You might not feel it at first, but over time they will either lift you higher or pull you down. They will either push you toward greatness or keep you stuck in mediocrity. Take a look at your closest friends, the people you spend the most time with. Are they encouraging you to grow? Are they challenging you to be better? Or are they filling your mind with doubt, negativity, and small thinking? Because here's the truth. You cannot live a positive life while constantly surrounding yourself with negative people. Imagine a person who decides to get healthy. He starts eating right, working out, and taking care of his body. But every time he sits with his friends, they mock him. Why are you eating that? Just have some junk food with us. You're wasting your time at the gym. You'll never stick with it. At first, he laughs it off. But over time, those words start to get into his mind. He begins to doubt himself. He starts slipping back into old habits, and before he knows it, he's right back where he started. Why? Because he allowed negative influences to pull him away from his goal. The Bible says in 1 Corinthians 15:33, bad company corrupts good character. You might have all the potential in the world, but if you are constantly surrounded by negative influences, they will keep you from becoming who you were meant to be. Think about an eagle. An eagle is meant to soar high above the clouds, to rise above the storms. But imagine if that eagle spent all its time with chickens, walking around on the ground, pecking at the dirt, never using its wings. The eagle would never reach its potential, not because it wasn't capable, but because it surrounded itself with the wrong crowd. Some of you have dreams, visions, and goals that God has placed inside you, but you are surrounded by people who don't believe in you, who are constantly filling your mind with negativity. That's impossible. You'll never make it. Just be realistic. Who do you think you are? And over time, those words start to take root. You stop dreaming. You stop believing. You stop reaching for more. Not because you weren't capable, but because you allowed the wrong voices into your life. Now, I'm not saying you should judge or hate people, but I am saying that you need to be intentional about who you allow to speak into your life. Some people are draining you. Some people are poisoning your mindset. Some people are keeping you from stepping into the life you were created for. Think about a glass of clean water. If you drop just one drop of poison into that water, would you still drink it? Of course not, because even a small amount of poison can be deadly. The same is true for the people you allow into your life. Even a little bit of negativity, a little bit of doubt, a little bit of toxic influence can destroy your future. If you want to grow, if you want to succeed, if you want to live the life you were meant to live, you need to surround yourself with the right people. People who lift you up, people who challenge you, people who push you toward your goals. Look at successful athletes. They don't train with lazy, unmotivated people. They train with others who are disciplined, focused, and committed. Why? Because they know that iron sharpens iron. Look at successful business people. They don't spend their time with people who complain and make excuses. They surround themselves with people who think big, take action, and refuse to settle for less. Look at people who are strong in their faith. They don't constantly hang around with people who mock their beliefs and pull them away from God. They surround themselves with others who encourage their spiritual growth. Your relationships are shaping your destiny. If you are constantly surrounded by people who complain, you will become a complainer. If you spend time with people who are negative, you will start seeing the world through a negative lens. If you listen to people who are filled with doubt, you will start doubting yourself. But the opposite is also true. If you surround yourself with people who believe in you, you will start to believe in yourself. If you spend time with people who are focused and disciplined, you will become more focused and disciplined. If you listen to people who speak life, faith, and possibility, you will begin to see new possibilities in your own life. It's time to take a serious look at the people in your life. Who is speaking into your future? Who is influencing your mindset? Who is helping you grow and who is holding you back? It may be difficult, but sometimes you need to distance yourself from certain people in order to become who you were meant to be. I'm not saying you have to cut people out of your life completely, but you do need to set boundaries. You need to be intentional about how much influence you allow them to have over you. If someone is always negative, limit your time with them. If someone is constantly speaking doubt, don't share your dreams with them. If someone is toxic, it's okay to walk away. Your future is too important to be surrounded by the wrong influences. Now, here's the good news. When you remove the wrong people, God will send the right people. When you let go of negative influences, you will start attracting people who inspire, uplift, and push you to become the best version of yourself. You will find friends who believe in you, mentors who guide you, and relationships that bring out the greatness inside of you. So I challenge you today, take a look at your circle. Remove the negative influences. Choose your relationships wisely, because who you surround yourself with matters. And when you get around the right people, you will step into the life you were created for. Faith is the power that transforms dreams into reality. It is the unseen force that moves mountains, parts seas, and opens doors that no man can shut. Faith is not about seeing everything clearly before you take action. It's about believing in what you cannot yet see and stepping forward with confidence. Think about a child learning to walk. That child doesn't sit down and wait until they fully understand how to balance, move their feet, or avoid falling. No, they take a step. Even when they don't know how, they stumble, they fall, but they keep going. And before you know it, that same child who once crawled is now running. That is faith in action, moving forward even when you're unsure of the outcome. Many people live their entire lives waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect plan, the perfect assurance that everything will work out before they take a step. But here's the truth. There will never be a perfect moment. If you wait until you have all the answers, you will never start. If you wait until every obstacle is removed, you will never move. Faith is stepping out even when the path ahead is uncertain. Imagine a person standing at the edge of a river. On the other side is everything they've ever wanted: a better life, new opportunities, answered prayers, but there's no visible bridge, no clear way to cross. Many people would stand there forever waiting for something to appear, but faith says, take a step. And when you take that step, you realize something powerful. God provides a way when you move in faith. Remember the story of Peter walking on water? Jesus told him, come. Peter didn't wait for proof that he could walk on water. He didn't ask for guarantees. He stepped out of the boat. And as long as his faith remained strong, he walked on what should have been impossible. What about you? What is the boat in your life? What is the thing you are afraid to step out of? Maybe it's fear of failure. Maybe it's doubt. Maybe it's the comfort of the familiar. But here's what you need to know. You will never experience the miraculous until you step out in faith. Look at Abraham. God told him to leave his homeland and go to a place he didn't even know. He had no map, no GPS, no clear plan, only faith. And because he took a step, God made him the father of many nations. Look at David. He was just a young shepherd boy facing a giant. He had no armor, no experience in battle, just a sling, 5 stones, and faith. And because he stepped forward, he defeated Goliath. Look at Moses. He stood before the Red Sea with the Egyptian army behind him and no escape in sight, but when he lifted his staff in faith, God parted the waters. Faith moves mountains. But you have to take the first step. Think about a person who wants to start a business, but they're afraid they might fail. They keep saying, one day I'll do it. But one day never comes. Why? Because they're waiting for certainty instead of stepping out in faith. Or think about someone who wants to change their life, maybe break free from addiction, restore a broken relationship, or pursue a dream. But they hesitate. They keep waiting for a sign, for everything to fall into place. But faith doesn't work that way. Faith requires movement. A farmer doesn't wait until he sees a harvest before he plants seeds. He plants them first, believing that in time they will grow. That's faith. A student doesn't wait until they feel 100% ready before they take an exam. They study, they prepare, and then they step forward in faith. A person doesn't wait until they see the entire staircase before they take the first step. They step, and then the next step appears. You might be standing at the edge of something big right now. Maybe God has placed a vision in your heart, a calling, a dream, but fear is holding you back. Fear whispers, what if you fail? But faith shouts, what if you succeed? Fear says you're not ready. Faith says if God called you, he will equip you. Fear says, what if things go wrong? Faith says, what if things go right? You don't need to see the whole picture before you move. You just need to trust the one who holds the picture. Look back on your life. How many times did you hesitate? How many times did you let doubt keep you from stepping into something great? It's time to change that. It's time to stop waiting and start walking, because when you move in faith, miracles happen. So what is it that you've been waiting on? What step have you been afraid to take? Maybe it's starting that business. Maybe it's applying for that job. Maybe it's moving to a new place. Maybe it's forgiving someone. Maybe it's pursuing that dream. Whatever it is, God is saying, take a step. You don't have to figure it all out. You don't have to have all the answers. You just have to believe. Faith doesn't mean you won't have doubts. Faith doesn't mean you won't feel afraid. Faith means you move forward despite those doubts, despite that fear, trusting that God will make a way. And here's the best part. When you take a step of faith, you inspire others to do the same. When people see you moving forward, stepping out, trusting God, they begin to believe that they can too. Your faith creates a ripple effect. So today I challenge you, take that step, move forward in faith, and watch as God does the impossible in your life. There comes a moment in life when we realize that we cannot do it all on our own. We try to control everything, our future, our relationships, our problems, but the more we hold on, the more overwhelmed we become. Worry starts creeping in, anxiety builds up, and suddenly we feel lost, frustrated, and exhausted. Why? Because we were never meant to carry it all. We were never meant to walk this journey alone. Surrendering to God is not a sign of weakness. It is a sign of trust. It is saying, God, I don't have all the answers, but I trust that you do. I don't see the whole picture, but I trust that you are guiding me. It is letting go of fear and grabbing hold of faith. Think about a child learning to swim. At first they are afraid. They thrash around trying to keep themselves afloat, fearing they might sink. But then their father reaches out his arms and says, trust me. And when that child stops struggling, when they surrender and allow their father to hold them, suddenly they float. The fear disappears because they are no longer trying to do it alone. That is what surrendering to God looks like. We stop fighting, we stop struggling, and we allow Him to carry us. Many times we hold on so tightly to our plans, our dreams, our way of doing things. We think, if I don't control this, everything will fall apart. But God is saying, give it to me. I know what's best for you. I have something greater than you can imagine. Look at Abraham. God asked him to leave his home and go to a place he didn't even know. That required surrender. He could have said, no, God, I need to stay where it's safe, where I'm comfortable. But instead, he let go and trusted God's plan. And because of his surrender, God blessed him beyond measure. Look at Moses. He didn't feel qualified to lead the Israelites. He had doubts, fears, and insecurities. But when he surrendered, when he stopped relying on his own strength and started trusting God, miracles happened. Look at Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane. He knew the pain that was coming, the suffering he would endure, and yet he prayed, not my will, but yours be done. The ultimate act of surrender. And through that surrender, salvation was given to the world. What about you? What are you holding on to? What are you trying to control? Maybe it's your career. You have plans, goals, and dreams, and you're trying to force everything to happen in your timing. But God is saying, trust me, my plan is greater. Maybe it's a relationship. You're trying to fix it, trying to make it work, but nothing is changing. God is saying, give it to me. Let me heal what is broken. Maybe it's fear of the unknown. You don't know what the future holds, and it's causing anxiety. God is saying, I hold your future. Rest in me. Surrender doesn't mean you stop working hard. It doesn't mean you sit back and do nothing. It means you stop carrying the burden alone. It means you let God lead. Think about a GPS. When you enter a destination, the GPS knows the way. You don't have to figure out every turn. You just have to follow the directions. But imagine if you ignored the GPS and tried to find your own way. You'd get lost, frustrated, and waste time. That's what happens when we refuse to surrender to God. We try to navigate life on our own, and we end up lost, confused, and struggling. But when we surrender, when we let God be our guide, He leads us exactly where we need to go. There is peace in surrender. There is freedom in letting go. Imagine carrying a heavy backpack filled with worries, stress, and fears. It weighs you down. But then God comes and says, let me carry that for you. And when you give it to Him, when you finally let go, you feel lighter, freer, at peace. Some of you have been carrying burdens that were never meant for you to carry. You've been trying to control things that only God can control. It's time to surrender. God is not asking you to figure everything out. He is simply asking you to trust Him, to take your hands off the wheel and let Him drive. So today, whatever it is that you've been holding on to, give it to God. Say, Lord, I surrender. I trust you with my life, my future, my everything. And when you do, you will experience peace like never before. Because when God leads, you will never be lost.